Chapter 8. Places of Historical, Cultural Importance. Title: A Voyage to the City of Lions Q1. What is the geographical location of Singapore City? ANS. From a geographical perspective, Singapore is located at a maritime crossroad where almost every ship sailing to or from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean or the South China Sea anchors here. Q2. What are barges, and how are these operated? ANS. A barrage is a kind of cargo-carrying vessel designed to transport passengers or goods through rivers or canals. Normally, these shipping vessels are long, flat-bottomed boats that do not have a self-propelling mechanism. A barrage needs to be pulled by tow or a tugboat. When 4 to 5 barges were loaded, a large motorboat pulled them to ships. Q3. How is Singapore connected to Malaysia? ANS. The Malaysian city of Johor lies just a quarter of a mile away from Singapore. There is a bridge that connects Johor with Singapore. Q4 Describe briefly the significance of Singapore Port. ANS. Singapore's port is a free port as well as a significant ship fueling hub. Since 2015, it has been regarded as the world's top maritime capital. Currently, the world's second busiest port in terms of overall shipping tonnage, it also transships 1/3 of the world's shipping containers, half of the world's yearly crude oil supply, and is the world's busiest transshipment port. Singapore has been a prominent entrepot and trade station for at least a couple of centuries due to its strategic position. In the modern age, its ports have evolved from a mere economic bonus to an economic necessity, compensating for Singapore's geographical and natural resource constraints. Its ports are essential for importing natural resources and then re-exporting items that have been domestically processed and molded in some way, such as water fabrication or oil refining, to produce value-added money. Singapore's port is also the world's largest bunkering port. The Singapore Strait is used by the majority of ships traveling between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Q5. What are the reasons for the prosperity of Singapore in spite of very little area? ANS. Singapore's actual success is due to its efficient and honest government. With a highly developed free market economy and strong international business linkages, the country had become one of the world's most successful nations. Currently, her gross domestic product per capita is the highest in ISA, which is 7th in the world. Q6. How is Singapore one of the attractive areas for tourists? ANS. Tourists like the city because of the shopping, gorgeous scenery, beautiful places, and low prices. People like the cleanliness of the city's surroundings. They stay in large hotels, dine in modest restaurants, and enjoy both Eastern and Western food. Q7. How does Singapore keep itself clean? ANS. Singapore is recognized as the Mr. Clean of the world. The spirit of cleanliness is present in everyone, from children to elders. The Japanese saying that, "Keep your house and the front of the street clean so you see the whole city clean," is practiced here in letter and spirit by the people. Besides, the government is also strict in the matter of cleanliness. Large fines are imposed on small transgressions, $50 for spitting, and huge penalties or even jail terms for littering on roads. Garbage bins are placed in every nook and corner. There is minimal noise and air pollution. Laws are strict, and the police force is honest. Q8. Describe any 4 interesting aspects of Singapore. ANS. Singapore is one of the only 3 surviving city-states in the world. The other 2 are Monaco and the Vatican City. In addition to its main island, the nation of Singapore includes 63 additional islands, most of which are uninhabited. Singapore is among the 20 smallest countries in the world, with a total land area of only 682.7 square kilometers. Singapore's Bukit Timah Nature Reserve holds more species of trees than the entire North American continent. Singapore has more than 3,000 kilometers of roads. Stretched out end to end, they would cover the distance from Singapore to Hong Kong. V. The national language of Singapore is Malay. The 4 official languages of the country are English, Chinese, Tamil, and Malay. Q.9. Why is Singapore called the fusion of the East and the West? ANS. The culture of Singapore has changed greatly over the millennia. Its contemporary modern culture consists of a combination of Asian and European cultures, mainly Malay, South Asian, East Asian, and Eurasian influences. Singapore has been dubbed as a country where East meets West, gateway to Asia, and a garden city. With massive buildings, fast-paced development, and economic growth that flourishes as much as its greenery, the bustling metropolis of Singapore overflows with promising businesses, markets, and trade. But what thrives within the city is beyond what the eyes see. Made up of Chinese, Malay, Indian, and various other ethnicities, cultural heritage is what makes Singapore, Singapore, a congregation of different cultures coexisting in one congenial space. Q10. Describe briefly the education in Singapore. ANS. Government spends 25% of its income on education. Citizens are encouraged to get an education, and there is enough provision in schools to accommodate every child of the country. Besides providing them with quality education, students are encouraged to participate in debates, speeches, and sports.